This week on My Global Adventure.
Oh my goodness, how do these soldiers do this all the time? It's day 113 of our adventure, and we've arrived in Beijing, China's capital city, located in the northeast part of the country. Beijing is referred to as the city of orderly design because of its many straight streets. I get the feeling that order reflects the culture of the people, too. There was always sort of an underlying tone to the way that they dealt with us, like we were being tolerated. Which is their own prerogative, you know? They've defended their borders for a lot of years against people coming in. I respect that they have that perspective, and I also respect that they allowed us to come in and that they treated us so well. Everybody's going on a tricycle ride today through the Old Town. The Old Town is in the center of the city, a residential labyrinth of streets and alleyways. Mei Cheng is our guide. Those art students that were painting on the edge over there, they sell all their stuff in a store right by where we're staying at the Beijing Hotel. Oh, this poor guy. Yeah, no kidding. I was gonna... There we go.
Several generations live in one house. The older people love to live together, the whole family, the whole generations. But the young people, they don't like that.
Yeah. And I don't blame them. Riding through the Old Town is the most colorful route to what was once China's most exclusive address, the Forbidden City. For 500 years, the Forbidden City was off limits to outsiders. My entrance here would have been met with instant death. So who all was allowed to go into the Forbidden City? The emperor? It was home to 24 different emperors, his soldiers, and his concubines. They choose to come?
The families, they choose the concubines for the emperors.
Okay.
Firstly from the countryside, and then in the cities, one emperor could one concubine till 3,000 concubines.
Oh my God.
Yes.
No wonder this place is so big.
Yes.
The emperor of the day ruled all of China from this throne, rarely leaving the Forbidden City.
Call that a throne?
The last emperor lived here in 1911 and was banished at the age of 8.
At that time, the first republic is founded in China by Dr. Sun Yat-sen. And the dynasty must be finished. So the poor baby lived somewhere else, outside the palace. The palace is totally closed.
They closed it off to everybody?
Yes, closed for everybody. After the Republic of China in 1949, it is opened again for the visitors and for the common people.
Saturday, we're in China. You know what that means? Adventure Day. Today you will be flying high for one of the best views of the Great Wall of China. Ooh! You will sail above the Great Wall in an ultralight motorized glider. A few experience. Ah! Ultralight motorized glider? I don't even know what that is. Finding out that the adventure in China was flying over the Great Wall in an ultralight, I mean, come on, it really doesn't get much better than that. When we went up, of course, the premise was that we were going to fly over the Great Wall. When we had started flying off, the pilot had said to me, I don't know if we'll be able to do it or not, I'll let you know. Okay, cool. So we got up, we were flying around, it was really pretty. The fog was still pretty thick, but he was testing the waters. And then at one point, he sort of turned to me and he hit my leg really hard, and he pointed to a certain direction. I was totally excited. I was psyched, I was pumped. I got up, I was like, yeah, we went over the Great Wall, woo, woo, woo. And it turns out it was just some wall around some farm. But you know what? When I was up there, it was the Great Wall to me, and that was very exciting. So in my own mind, in my reality, my little world, I flew over the Great Wall for just a moment. You can't say how cool that was. You just can't. You just have to do it. And I did? No, go again.
How was that?
Oh my God. It does not get better than that. That was incredible. That was just beefing incredible. The Great Wall of China is 6,000 kilometers long. The fog prevented us from seeing it from above, so we drove an hour and a half north of Beijing to Badaling, one of the best preserved sections of the wall in China.
This was for soldiers.
Chen Guodong is my guide at the Great Wall. And they would have how many soldiers here?
If it was like a wartime, there would be lots of soldiers stationed on the wall.
Right.
Sometimes only a few just to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, whoa, oh, these stairs are tiny. Construction of the Great Wall started in the north of China during the 7th century BC. At that time, 7 out of every 10 workers died from starvation and exhaustion.
In the record, they say around almost 500,000 people worked along the Great Wall, like these soldiers, prisoners, and some people, they were forced to work here.
Every 500 meters is a watchtower. Soldiers would send each other smoke signals from here, warning of impending attacks. Oh my goodness, how did these soldiers do this all the time? It's no easy climb. Elevation of the wall at Badaling is 600 meters. For me, being at the Great Wall was kind of a moving experience, and I opened myself up for it to be kind of a spiritual encounter. This thing is great, not because it's all one big piece, because it's made up of millions and millions of smaller pieces that in and of themselves aren't that strong, aren't that great, aren't that significant, but they're part of something that is one of the greatest symbols of what mankind has done. And I guess that's what I got from just sitting in silence on the wall for a while. It was like, I'm not terribly significant. I'm not anything more important than anybody else around me. But I'm part of something that's significant and strong. And being at the wall it was a great metaphor for that realization. I climbed the Great Wall! I climbed the Great Wall! I know I seem really calm right now, but this is pretty exciting. I'm in China being done up by someone from the Beijing Opera. The Beijing Opera is more than 200 years old. This traditional Chinese style of opera encompasses dancing, acrobatics, mime, and even fighting. Their style of costuming and makeup are centuries old, and I got to experience it firsthand. Now, is she making me up as the poor girl? Or am I being the same one as her?
You cannot tell a poor girl or a wealthy girl from the face, just from the costume.
From the costumes.
Yeah.
I know I seem really calm right now, but this is pretty exciting. I'm in China being done up by someone from the Beijing Opera. That's pretty cool. The characters are made up in 4 main roles: a male, a young female, a painted male, and the clown. They may be loyal or treacherous, beautiful or ugly, good or bad, but always vivid. Okay, well, I boobed here, but that's okay, because the rest of it looks all right. That's because she did the rest of it. She took one of these things, and it's got kind of a piece of cloth right in the front of it. A piece of cloth went right in front of my head. The strings came around, and when she brought them back up, she like yanked my skin up right here. Ooh. Can you ask them, do they still get stage fright? Ever? They ever get afraid to go, like get nervous before they go on stage?
The first time, for sure, they were very nervous. But after a while, they get used to that.
I guess you gain a certain appreciation for how elaborate the Chinese opera is if you actually go through the process yourself, which is exactly what I did. I hope they know I can't sing. After an hour or so, I was somebody else. I mean, that I looked completely like somebody else. Oh, I'm done? When it was time for the opera that evening, the best place for me was in the audience. The people that we worked with behind the scenes, as far as putting me together, were actually actors in the opera themselves, and they were incredible. Not only could they sing very well, they were very dignified to the point of welcoming me in and turning me into one of them. I thought that was very open and welcoming of them. And what does one do after an opera performance in Beijing? Visit one of the oldest, biggest restaurants, the Beijing Roast Duck. How does one hand sign begging?
Signatures,
I soon discovered we were in good company.
important people who had dinner here and signed their name here.
Chairman Mao liked his roasted duck, and so did Henry Kissinger. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. Eating duck liver. Not duck lips, like I thought. Duck liver. Most of the people that we met in China seem to have the same kind of pattern. They would start out very formally and very distanced, and wanting to go through a lot of sort of ritual, a certain way of meeting, a certain back and forth. The soup has duck tongues in it. I got one here. And at first, it was kind of an unusual concept because we would consider getting close to people, wanting to be open and back and forth as much as possible. But in China, it's almost offensive to do it. It's much easier to get to know someone if you follow the formality and the pattern that they're comfortable with. And I found that with just about everyone we encountered. Duck heart.
Cannot wait.
Those are very good. Send them around. When we first met May, she was, as everyone else was, very formal and very quiet.
No, I've got a headache.
And it just took a matter of time and going through the formalities. And May just opened right up.
Our duck is over there. Oh my God.
When the famous Beijing duck finally arrived, I could barely control myself. It was succulent and juicy. It was everything we were anticipating. Now that was worth the wait.
那个酱，我给他拿，我给他拿过来。
Teaching tiny fingers a 2,000-year-old art. We traveled to Shanghai last night, China's largest city, stretched along the coast of the East China Sea. The daylight exposes a beautiful city where old embraces new. Early morning risers practice the ancient art of Tai Chi in full view of the tall, modern, Jetson-like office towers across the river. I began to understand the Chinese approach to life. While they are opening up their borders and accepting what is new in the world, their commitment to protocol and tradition helps to keep their culture strong.
He has a lot of students all from all over the world.
Eddie Ma is my guide in Shanghai. One of the greatest highlights that we had in China was going to the Children's Palace. This is a place where children who show special talent, who are very gifted, are able to go and develop that talent under really, really great tutelage. Oh, it's in here. We went and visited a class of students who were learning the pipa, which is sort of an ancient instrument from China. You can hear it. Have you played pipa before? No.
In old China, only girls can play pipa. It means make the girl more elegant.
We got to talk to a man named Mr. Gu who was phenomenal. Not only an interesting guy with a great background and history in this instrument, but the most amazing player of the pipa. And his students were following very close in his very cool shoes.
你来自从加拿大过来，is the 嗰啲女主持人 Asia, and this is Mr. Gu, the expert in pipa playing.
So the first thing I want to know is maybe just a bit of a background on this instrument because we're not familiar with it. Where did it originate?
琵琶它来源于呢，波斯呢是个牛头，那么到了那个中亚以后呢，变成曼多林，那么到了那个美洲以后变吉他。
That pipa originally comes from the Middle Asia, and the instrument comes to China becomes to be pipa, and also the Western the guitar is also the same original place. The go west to be guitar and to east become to be pipa. Yeah.
The pipa was originally played for Chinese royalty. Its history in China is more than 2,500 years old. Most of these 8-year-olds have been playing the pipa for 4 years. Eventually, they will learn to play the pipa like Mr. Gu, mastering 1,000 different fingering combinations. Nice, very nicely done.
好的，嗦拉西哆。
The pipa is not an easy instrument to play,
西哆。
at least with my fingers.
瑞第二个瑞咪发嗦嗦这个嗦。哎呀，好的，很好。
My first scale on the pipa. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, now I gotta look forward and steer and stuff. Going down the river in China's Venice. Zhejiang is a small town surrounded by rivers far from Shanghai. We came here out of curiosity because the local people travel the same way they did 900 years ago, crisscrossing on the canals by boat.
The boat is only a transportation tool because you can see a very narrow lane. There's no bicycle, no cars, no automobile, only the boats.
What would a trip to China, Venice be without going on a Chinese gondola, right? Ni hao. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. We were very fortunate to jump onto a boat in Watertown that had a very charismatic driver. She was a lot of fun, and she was very friendly, and she had a great voice. Mrs. Shu, I soon discovered, is the town's singing poet. She and her husband write the words to the songs that she sings to visiting travelers.
It used to be a popular song, and just a lady put her own feeling, because she drove the boats for 8 years for the guests from all over the world. So the last sentence in the song is the welcome the guests from all over the world. You are very, very welcome.
Thank you. I would love to try this.
Yeah.
Because you make it look so easy, so I'm
the lady will
pretty sure
stand
it's
behind
probably
of
not.
you.
Oh, now I gotta look forward and steer and stuff. Our beautiful singing boat lady has invited us to her home for some tea.
Thank you.
As I sat there enjoying lunch with our hosts, I understood the nature of Chinese hospitality. What feels formal at first gives way to a genuine feeling of friendship. In China, they have a saying that your personality is written on your face, and as I looked around, I saw warm hearts, a strong commitment to family and tradition, and an honest approach to new friends. To Chinese hospitality.
Friendship between Canada and China.
Good one.
Coming up on My Global Adventure.
The groom has to continually earn his way towards the bride. A smart and wise process.